Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize for my absence. I said I was selling this vehicle. I bought these parts like 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately I got sick and okay, so we got the transmission, we got the oil pan. Oil pan off the vehicle. Got the old oil pan gasket. So anyway, there's the oil pan. We're gonna get that cleaned out, put the new gasket back in, and put it back together. Okay, so while cleaning out the inside of the oil pan is important. You also wanna make sure you scrape clean where the pan meets the engine of the vehicle, because you do not want any debris, rock, or whatever getting stuck right in between, because it will cause a leak. And I wanted to show you proof that I'm not cutting any corners. Okay, so we got the oil pan all cleaned out. The outside might be a little dirty, but I mean, when this pan sits underneath the vehicle, so it's gonna get dirty anyway. There's no sense in trying to get it spotless on the outside. Cleaned out the inside, turned it upside down so all the brake fluid does dry out, leak out, so it's nice and clean on the inside. Right now we are going back to take off the transmission pan. Okay, let's take a look at our progress. So we got done pulling off the transmission pan. As you can see here, there's a transmission filter. I'm gonna be switching that out. Still gotta scrape off where the pan meets the transmission. I also scraped off where the oil pan will be meeting the engine. Just like I said, you want a clean, smooth surface when you put everything back together. That way you're not getting any leaks. Here's everything over here, cleaned up, scraped, ready to go back together. So there's the oil pan, placed back on. Transmission pan, filters on the inside. I forgot to push record. Kind of running late here. I need to run back into town and change out the tire. This tire is not good. I just aired it up to put the vehicle on ramps. I'm going to be pulling it off here in a minute, run into town, change that out. But anyway, so I want to apologize, like I said, for my sickness. The sickness actually lasted longer than I intended it to. It was cold, now it's warm. Jumped back on the vehicle, got the pans changed out. So we made it back before the sun went down. Got some time. Got the tire here, new tire placed on the rim, and the transmission pan. Changed out the filters. I seated them, but I did not tighten them down. Like I said, I was running late, and the book does require them to be torqued down to certain specs. We're doing this by the book. Make sure it's done correct. When it's done correct, you do it one time instead of a million. This is the next day. So I got underneath the vehicle, started double checking the torque on the bolts, make sure it was tight on both the pans, and I noticed that my old solenoid pack was pretty caked up. Now, I actually thought that the transmission pan was leaking, but if you see right here, it is still pretty wet. So this old solenoid pack, I mean, it still worked. The gears shifted. This just enables it to shift from 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 4 to overdrive. So it was working, but I guess it just got old, and the component itself started leaking. So that's what I was working on this morning. It was not planned. I did not plan on changing this out, but I jumped under there this morning. I noticed it was a problem, so I figured I change it out. So I did not record it. So this transmission is a transmission that went out a year ago. As the transmission was starting to go out, a new solenoid pack was purchased for it. This is where the solenoid pack sits. So this transmission itself went out, but the solenoid pack was only a year old. So this is a solenoid pack that I end up changing out on the Neon. And I actually thought it was the oil or the transmission pan that was leaking, but it turns out it was the solenoid pack. But hey, you know, at least you're getting a new gasket with the transmission, new filter, new fluid. So that's just one less thing you got to worry about. Okay, so we just got done adding the fluids, turned on the vehicle, checked for leaks, no leaks. So I moved the ramps to the rear of the vehicle. And before I start on the lateral links, I don't know if anyone noticed, but there is a performance air filter in here. And also in the rear of the vehicle, we have an aftermarket muffler. So the reason why I changed out the muffler is because of the additional air that's coming in through that performance air filter, and this is to help that air exit properly. Well, a couple horsepower, not a lot, you know, it's not like Fast and the Furious or anything. But anyway, that's just an added feature to the vehicle. Thought I'd let people know that. Some people might be wondering, what exactly are lateral links? So there are some bars that are going across the vehicle here. If you see, it goes from the tire to the frame of the vehicle. So the reason why I am changing those two out is because at about 60 miles per hour, the vehicle does have a small wobble in the rear. If you put enough pressure on the tire, I don't know if you can see that, it does have a tendency to go in and out a little bit, causing a wobble at 60 miles per hour. So I'm going to be crawling under there, and I'm going to be replacing those bars with these two here, and that should eliminate the wobble in the rear of the vehicle.